I think she also has EX. Well, that's crazy. That's a huge buff to Modern Marisa. An entire special move added out of thin air for this character. I think FemShep's gonna be pretty happy about that.
A few moments later.
Quadriga! They gave me motherfucking Quadriga! Good your loins go! We got Spartan Kick on Modern! They gave me motherfucking Quadriga! I have Spartan Kick! I have Spartan Kick!
You're watching FemShep FGC. Like and subscribe to my favorite gladiator on the Citadel.
It's me, FemShep, and this is the video I have been hoping I would have reason to make for 3 years. Welcome to the guide to extensive Modern Marisa buffs in Season 4. I am so excited. This is going to be most likely a longer video. I'm going to try to chop it up in editing so that it stays snappy and moving along, but we have got a lot to cover. I have a nearly 1,000-word Google Doc of notes that I'm going to be referencing to make sure we hit everything, so let's get started. For starters, what has changed in terms of controls? This is the first time we've actually seen a significant shift in how Modern Marisa's controls work. Down special used to be Phalanx. That is no longer the case. Down special is now the Spartan Kick that I have been begging Capcom for 3 years. Specifically, regular down special will give you medium Quadriga, down back special will give you light Quadriga, down forward special will give you heavy Quadriga, and any of those, while holding auto, will give you OD Quadriga. So, if Phalanx is no longer down special, where's Phalanx? Well, Phalanx is now back special. It's still the same strength of Phalanx, it's still a medium Phalanx on simple input, or OD Phalanx on simple input. However, this begs the question, what about what was originally on the back special input? That being Marisa's quarter circle back, specifically the medium version and the OD version. That's no longer on a simple input at all. So if you want to do Marisa's quarter circle back move, which is pretty essential for playing her, I would say, past master, you might be able to scrounge your way up to master without being able to do any motion inputs, but if you want to take this character really up a notch, I think it is pretty much essential at this point to learn, if only one input, your quarter circle back, because that is now the only way you can access that move altogether. Thankfully, I was already doing the light version manually for my jab strings and the heavy version manually for all of her best routes, but I still had a habit of using the simple input for confirms off medium punches, which is a problem, because if I try to do this the way it used to be input, I get this. And if I try to do this the way it used to be input, I get this. And that is what was happening to me all night, my first night back on Ranked. I crashed out a little bit on Twitter. I was really upset. I'm freaking out a little bit because CEO is in less than 2 weeks, and thanks to all of you supporting the crowdfund, I am going, and I don't want this to be the reason I lose. So I will be posting another video in the very near future about drills I am using to rewire my muscle memory, because I've already started putting hours straight into drills leading up to CEO to learn that muscle memory of making sure I confirm into manual, medium, and OD Dima, but I don't want to spend too much time on drills in a video about all of her changes, so we're going to stay away from that right now. So that covers everything that's new on Modern Marisa and how they moved her controls. I'm now just going to go down the list of each of the things that have changed, how they have changed, and what those changes affect. Starting with forward heavy kick, which is also still the first hit of the heavy auto combo, though unless you are using the heavy auto combo to route into the heavy quarter circle back because you struggle with motion inputs, you are probably just using forward heavy to get this button. What has changed about this button? Well, this used to be not confirmable into anything on normal hit. If you wanted to get a combo off of this, you had to buffer it into light Gladius since it was safe on block and set up a spacing trap and deleted the whole bar with their drive meter, or comboed on hit. But there was really no benefit to doing just knee as a poke ever. Now, the knee is +4 on normal hit, which means it combos into crouch jab into light Dima like this. That also means just the knee can technically confirm into level 3. The thing that I think is the best about this buff, though, is the fact that previously, Marisa's best drive rush cancel option off of when they block the knee drive rush cancel. It is an auto-timed mix between command grab or another knee, but since you couldn't confirm the knee into anything, you couldn't really get a combo off of it if only the second hit, like so. There was no way to confirm that into anything before. So you would end up doing just this into Light Gladius, and then at most you could confirm the Light Gladius into level 3, but you couldn't get an extended combo. So what we were doing is doing the knee and then manually delaying a stand medium kick so that you could do a confirm. And that looked like this. But manual timing is never as good as auto timing, and we now have an even better combo that is easier to execute. Because off of drive rush or unpunished counter, though it's unlikely you'll be getting this button on punish counter since it is 2 frames slower than your usual with punish button of stand heavy punch, you can now do the knee drive rush cancel into another auto timed knee and then confirm that second knee into back heavy punch and heavy quarter circle. This is a huge buff to both her damage potential here and just the ease with which this can be executed as long as you can do the quarter circle input. Which, as I've said before, since it's now manual for all strengths of the input, I would say it is to your benefit that if you were going to learn one input first as you were learning Modern Marisa, it should be your quarter circles back. Now, because they changed the properties of the knee a little bit, I also want to go over what changed with if you do knee into Gladius. Knee into Light Gladius is still a true block string, as before. Knee into Medium Gladius is, let's see here in my notes, also true block string. However, knee into Heavy Gladius is actually a frame trap now. Frame trap. You can't really confirm that into anything, but I think it's worth being aware of just because it is a change to properties, and maybe if you need that tiny little bit of damage from the Gladius and it'll kill or something, I don't know, it's worth keeping in mind. This is Editing Shep. Just kidding that was the end of the section about forward heavy kick, because I found something from the Japanese Marisa community that I thought was worth mentioning. First of all, off of drive rush back heavy punch, you can now drive rush cancel into a forward heavy kick, which was not possible before. So if you are doing a max damage route that starts with medium punches, drive rush canceling into back heavy punch, before it would have looked like this. And that does 56-55. But if you replace that medium kick at the end with instead a forward heavy kick, which works now, you get about another 100 damage, which is pretty nice. Also worth noting, if you do crouch medium punch, drive rush into forward heavy kick on block, you're gonna get interrupted. However, if you're fishing for a counter hit, especially after a spacing trap, on at least counter hit or as a whiff punish on punish counter, this actually combos. Works on counter hit and also works if you get like a long distance whiff punish where for some reason you would not necessarily have been able to reach with your usual cancel into medium kick if you started from like really far away. Maybe the medium kick wouldn't have reached, or it would have reached but you wouldn't have been close enough to connect back heavy punch afterwards. Now you can just go for the forward heavy kick, which also does a little more damage. Alright, back to the rest of the show. That covers everything with forward heavy kick. Moving on to the charged heavy punch target combo. And hoo boy, did this bad boy get buffed. We will get to changes to just charge stand heavy punch later. First, I want to talk about the target combo. This used to be a frame trap. It is now a true block string. You'll see there's no gap for Yasmin to press a button here. It also deletes almost a bar and a half of drive, and they are now forced to accept that if they did not reaction parry or reaction perfect parry the first charged hit. It also is now leaving Marisa +4 at close range, as opposed to previously being only +2 and being further away with very limited ability to pressure afterwards. So there are a couple different things you can do here. Thing one is that your medium punch is a frame trap here. If you're at a decently close range, then that medium punch should also connect on block, but if you started this from like tippy-tip range, just be aware that sometimes the medium can whiff if they didn't press, and then you can get whiff punished for attempting a frame trap. Alternatively, you can go for a trade combo with back heavy punch. A trade will always interrupt if you had buffered a special move behind the button as well, so in case it doesn't trade, you can always go for a light Gladius off of it. And that now has deleted almost 2.5 bars of drive if they just accepted that whole sequence. Or if you get the trade, you can confirm off the trade combo. Or if you just went for it by itself and you get a counter hit with this, there are confirms you can do with that too. Medium punch, frame trap. As you can see, counter hit. Or if you get just a counter hit on the trade. Now after that, you are +11. So your first combo option is the sweep target combo, like this. And that'll all combo. You can just go straight back into another one, into quarter circle back heavy, like this. That is another option you can do. If they pressed a button that was too big, and you didn't buffer a Gladius behind it, and you get a straight up counter hit, you are still +5, so you can confirm it into crouch jab quarter circle back light. Which of course can also go into level 3. However, possibly the actual best buff off of this is that it's not actually only reduced pushback from this. Marisa moves further forward than she used to after doing this target combo. It moves her just a tiny bit closer than it used to. That's not really noticeable if you're just doing it raw mid-screen, but it is very noticeable if you are doing it in a juggle combo, like say this. It used to be impossible to chase this down into any kind of real Oki because Marisa was even further away. And that is no longer the case. You can actually drive rush chase after this and get real Oki of a normal throw or a crouch medium punch. Crouch medium punch being even better than stand heavy punch because it is +2 on block and in throw range, unlike stand heavy punch, which is only +1 on block, making the tick throw fake if you were to go for a tick throw. And you can, of course, always stop short and bait if you think that they're going to do a reversal or that they're going to wake up the light attack. That is all there is to cover for the standing heavy punch target combo. Let's move to the next thing. Target combo aside, what about just the charge stand heavy punch by itself? Well, if that is blocked, it used to be only +3, which meant that a medium punch afterwards was a block string. That is not the case anymore. Now, instead of getting a block string when you go for this, the medium punches would be an actual frame trap. You used to be able to get a trade combo here with back heavy punch, and that is now actually also a real frame trap. So you can buffer it into, say, like Gladius. If you really want to risk it, obviously you can just buffer a drive rush cancel off of it and then react to if it connected on a hit. Alternatively, if you don't want to buffer it into a special move, you can just confirm the single counter hit into crouch light, quarter circle back light, just like the situation after the target combo. That is about all I have to say about Charge Stand Heavy Punch and the Charge Stand Heavy Punch target combo, moving swiftly along. There are two target combos you can do off Marisa's forward medium punch. The first one is a sweep, which isn't cancelable into anything. The second one is a high, which is actually cancelable into any of her supers. Level 1, level 2, or level 3. However, before, if the first hit the opponent crouching, like if you were punishing a sweep, then the high hit would go right over their head, so you couldn't use that target combo as a punish on crouching moves. Now it forces stand after the first hit connects as a punish, which means we can now punish sweeps with a route into any of Marisa's supers. If we block Luke's sweep, Luke has one of the fastest recovery sweeps in the game in that it's only -9. Thankfully, this is a 9-frame button, so we can use it as a punish. Before, our punish options here, if we wanted to route into level 3 off of the sweep, were only and that is heavily scaled between the jabs and the light Dima. Your level 3 is doing less than 4,000 damage. It would be scaled even if I'd done the full input there. That's not a case of modern scaling. That's just the scaling of the combo itself. Now, because you can do the level 3 off the high target combo, which actually gives you a lot of time to buffer the full super, even if you, like me, usually struggle with manual super inputs and combos, we can do much more damage than that. I did the full input, so this isn't going to be any more modern scaling. Now, as opposed to less than 4,000 damage, we did very nearly 50% damage. Also enables us to route into level 1, which was never an option here at all off the sweep. And that does 3,500 damage. There's pretty much never a good reason to route into level 2 here because it only does a tiny bit more damage than level 1 and it's a waste of resources. But that level 1 is nasty as an option. Technically, you could have always just routed here if you wanted more extensive super routes into punishing with back heavy punch. But depending on the range, that was finicky, and this provides a much simpler route into any of Marisa's supers for big damage. That is basically all I have to say about the buff to forward medium punch. Moving on. The next thing we're going to talk about is a buff to Phalanx. And I was actually mistaken about what this buff was initially, as I think most English speakers probably were. Apparently there was a bit of a translation error, because the notes seem to indicate that there was reduced pushback on if Phalanx hit counter hit or punish counter, but I couldn't actually see any difference there in real matches, and I was a little bit confused. Japanese Marisa Twitter, thankfully, helped me figure this out. Actually, the reduced blowback is on Phalanx inside juggle combos, which is relevant mid-screen. The setup I'm going to show does require you to do a manual heavy Phalanx input, not a modern Phalanx. So I actually can still only execute this personally on player one side of the screen. If you can do the input on both sides of the screen, this is an even bigger buff to you than it is to me, but it is still a buff. You're probably familiar with this being one of Marisa's most common safe jump setups. However, that only worked in the corner because of how far away they rolled. They now, even on back roll, do not roll far enough away to negate the fact that this is a safe jump. This works mid-screen. It is a true plus 42 safe jump. The biggest benefit of this is that you can now do Marisa's charge safe jump mid-screen, which, on block, deletes like almost a whole bar of drive, and it leaves you plus 18, which means you can true block string into forward heavy kick, light Gladius, and take an absolute ton of their drive and put yourself in a spacing trap situation. Basically deletes 1.5 drive bars, looks like this. Nasty. Absolutely nasty. You can also try to go for the charge stand heavy punch target combo after the charge safe jump to do even more drive damage, but this does technically lose to them mashing their fastest possible button. If they don't mash a 4 frame and they just take it, the drive damage on block is enormous. Now they're basically down 2 whole bars of drive, but that does lose only if they mash a 4 frame. See, interrupted. But if he does anything slower, if he does like a 5 frame medium, he's just getting hit. Alternatively, if they just block the initial hit and you want to do something that is a true frame trap, an immediate drive rush into a crouch medium punch will beat them pressing after the block stun wears off. There. If you do it immediately. The timing is a little bit tight, but it does work. You can't, or at least I haven't been able to get a throw to beat buttons here, but throw can still be a good call out if they're parrying or just blocking, so maybe put throw into your repertoire there as well. You can also always do shenanigans as well if they're really reliable at perfect parrying your safe jumps. If that's happening every time, then you can call out the parry attempt by intentionally starting the charge too early and making it whiff, and then you can punish them with a command grab when you land. And that is about all I have to say about the new mid-screen Phalanx safe jump. Moving on to the next thing. It is now much more viable to go for the medium punch target combo in +3 situations. Because if they mash, as before, you trade. And you can confirm that trade into jabs into Dima. The risk was that if they held up at being -3, then they would flip out of the second hit of the target combo, which meant that actually committing to the target combo was really risky. Now from +3, if you go for medium punches, there's no more flip out. The whole thing hits them grounded. And he's holding up immediately. No more flip out. That's awesome. And now a quick break to thank this video's sponsor, Zenni Gaming. Zenni has been a leading online glasses company since 2003, when Marvel vs. Capcom 2 was released. With over 50 million pairs sold, Zenni offers prescription sunglasses, sports glasses, blue light glasses for gaming, safety glasses, and just regular old glasses. So you can look like Marisa Outfit 2, Aki Outfit 3, whatever you want. And unlike costumes in Street Fighter 6, Zenni is always releasing new fits, all for a fraction of what glasses would cost at an offline store. You can even virtually try them on with your device's camera before you buy. Use promo code GLADIATORS to get 10% off your Zenni purchase while supporting the channel. Link is in the description. With such low-cost eyewear, you can find something to match every cosplay or esports jersey. The possibilities are as endless as Ken Main's downplay. Thanks for watching the ad. Now back to the video. Now, it is time for the moment we've all been waiting for as Modern Marisa mains for 3 years. This motherfucking thing! Woo! Alright, we are going to start with OD Quadriga. I'm going to go through all strengths of it and use cases. We are starting with OD. You can get a combo here going into OD Quad off normal forward heavy kick or normal charge back heavy punch. It has to be punish counter or drive rush on crouch medium punch or back heavy punch. There are 2 main cases you're probably going to land this in the corner. Option 1 is if you get a whiff punish after a spacing trap perhaps. Say Ryu wants to throw his crouching medium kick after he blocks our spacing trap. He explodes now. Alternatively, if you block something big, like say a DP, then you're gonna route into it off the forward heavy kick. Now, what are your combo routes after you actually land this? Your ideal meterless extension is just going to be back heavy punch into heavy gladius after the splat. You can just use the modern gladius if you have trouble with the inputs, but if you want max damage, you're going to want to do the manual heavy. It looks like this. You do have to do the back heavy punch pretty fast. If you charge it at all, it's going to whiff, but all told, pretty simple combo. And just that simple combo does almost 40%. I am so excited that we got the big boot. This is the best thing ever. This is Modern Marisa Christmas. Heck, I celebrate Christmas and Hanukkah. This is Modern Marisa Christmonica. I don't even know, okay? This is the best thing ever. And I'm so excited. I'm getting off topic. Okay. You can also get a safe jump extension if you do a medium phalanx there instead of the heavy gladius. What's cool is that medium phalanx is on the modern input. So even if you struggle with the input here for any reason, which I actually do on player 2 side, you can get this with the modern input, no problem, and be plus 42. And you see plus 42, true safe jump. If you somehow accidentally get back heavy punch into medium quad, which was happening to me quite a bit when I hopped back in because I was trying to do phalanx and forgot phalanx had moved. If you get this, there's no reason to do that, like, intentionally, but it does leave you plus 38, so you can get a meaty just by doing your frame kill stand heavy punch, charge back heavy, like you would after the gladius knockdown, which is pretty similar frame data. So if you need to, like, recover after that mistake, just be aware that that does work as an option. So just keep that in mind if you manage to get the accidental quad, or if you just want to really mess with your opponent by going for a wacky and probably suboptimal setup. What if you actually want to extend this into much bigger damage? Your simplest cash out, and the one that actually does the most damage, is just going to be back heavy punch, drive rush, back heavy punch, drive rush, forward heavy kick target combo, all uncharged, into fully charged back heavy punch, whatever gladius you want, level 3. That looks like this. Holy damage. That is very nearly 70% without punish counter. If that were a DP punish, it would be breaking 7k. God, I'm so excited. We have Quadriga. I'm so excited. Okay. If you want to do a fancy, requires all 6 drive bars cash out that actually does a little bit less damage, you can actually just do like the really long one. You're not charging any of those, and then you have to do light gladius into level 3 at the end. As you can see, it does a tiny bit less damage, only by like less than 20 damage, so it really comes down to personal preference. But you can get the other one with less than 6 total drive bars, and this one pretty much requires that you start with 6 drive bars, so I think it's a lot less practical overall. If you want to route into level 2, you can always do your charge back heavy punch into OD Gladius. Potentially anywhere in that extension. Simple one would be if you want to do a full extension to level 2, it would probably look like this. Over 50%, pretty nasty. If you want to do into level 1, then anywhere where you could do a charged back heavy punch or charged forward heavy kick target combo, you can also do charged crouch heavy punch into charged level 1, like so. If you want to do a full cash out into level 1, do the full triple juggle that you would do on the level 3 cash out, except instead of doing this into a gladius at the end to go into level 3, just do this into level 1. Over 50%. I think most of the time it probably makes sense to either spend level 1 or spend level 3 here, unless there's a situation where you really specifically need level 2 to kill. You can also obviously route into level 2 off the forward heavy kick target combo, so if you don't want to do the OD Gladius route, that's also an option. but I still feel like most of the time you're going to be doing level 1 or level 3. Your mileage may vary and my opinion may change the longer I play with access to quad. I'm still feeling this out as much as you are. Important to remember, you can also route into OD Quad mid-combo off Drive Rush Back Heavy Punch. Technically works after a Dima juggle, but most of the time you're doing it, I think it's going to be off a grounded Drive Rush Back Heavy Punch. Like maybe if you get a medium punch combo starter in the corner, combo might look something like this. That is about all I have to say about routes with OD Quad. We are now going to start from the bottom strength and work our way back up. We are moving on to Light Quadriga. Light Quad, again, is down back into special. This is going to be a pretty short section. There aren't many major use cases for this. The most obvious is that off of Heavy Dima, Light Quadriga is a good combo that obviously you can go into level 3, which if you were worried at a weird range that a heavy Gladius into level 3 might whiff, you will still definitely get a combo into level 3 that doesn't whiff off quad. So at ambiguous ranges, this might be the better cancel, even though Gladius is slightly more damage, just to make sure the whole thing connects. But even if you're not canceling into level 3, that combos, and it gives you, after you dash forward, plus 15 Oki mid-screen, which means you can dash into like forward heavy kick. You don't have a lot of options without Drive Rush if you don't want to do Drive Rush Oki, but still an option. Medium quad whiffs off Heavy Dima, but hilariously, it does leave you plus 7. So if you want to really mess with your opponent, do the whiff into immediate medium punches, and it will beat the meshing on Wake Up. It's kind of like Phalanx frame kills that look like a drop. I don't know how often anybody's going to use that, but I always love finding those kind of like funny break their brain setups. It does under 100 less damage than a stand heavy punch ender. So it is slightly less damage, but it does have slightly more corner carry. Like if you do that, he is not quite at the half screen line. If you do this, then he is very nearly standing on the mid-screen line. So slightly better corner carry. However, we did just establish that now you get really good Oki off of doing the charge target combo in juggles, and that does a lot more damage. So you probably aren't going to go for the light quad ender here that often, since that gives you 2840 into Drive Rush Oki versus 2184, which is a significant damage difference. And if you don't want to do dash forward heavy kick, you probably have to do Drive Rush Oki here too. So just consider the situation, your resources, what your routing is going to be for your Oki afterwards, all that good stuff. And that covers everything with Light Quad. Editing Shep here with one last little use for Light Quadriga that I found from watching Big Bird's Twitch stream playing some Marisa on my lunch break at work today. So, we know how Marisa's stand light target combo works, but just as a quick refresher, it's a 2-hitter that is a frame trap on block, but it does not combo if it is just normal hit and not counter hit. You'll see the first hit, but he's still able to block the second hit. It only combos on counter hit. If it combos on counter hit, there are a few options we were doing previously. Option 1, probably the worst option, is to confirm into Light Gladius. If you are mid-screen, that puts them really far away from you where you pretty much don't get any real Oki. So not great. If you want to keep them close to you, you can confirm into medium quarter circle back. But that's kind of finicky, because if you're punishing something with this, since it's Marisa's only 6 frame, and that punish starts from far away, sometimes the slam will just whiff, and then you whiffed in their face, and you get punished for trying to punish them on block. So most often, the safest way to actually end this and get meaningful Oki off of it was that you had to drive rush cancel it and spend 3 bars to go into the stand medium kick like this. And you don't always want to spend 3 bars on a combo that's already scaled to hell from starting with lights anyway. You can now confirm this into Light Quad. So that's an option. I wanted to make sure I included it. Back to the rest of the video. Moving on to medium quad, which is down special where our Phalanx used to be. Firstly, we already established that you can only do light quad off of the heavy Dima juggle. You can actually get medium quad off of the OD Dima juggle. Light still works, but you can get medium. And obviously medium does a little bit more damage. And you get very similar Oki dash forward into heavy kick there as you would off of the one with light quad off heavy Dima. Except it actually leaves you a little bit closer. Like you can almost throw them, but not quite. So you could meaty with something other than forward heavy kick. It is definitely a good knockdown. I don't think it's her best routing, but it's an option. And again, it's a way to meterlessly go into super without the risk of Gladius into super dropping. The most important change to medium quad in this patch is that medium quad is now safe on block at -3. Which means it's potentially safer to throw out in neutral, because if they aren't drive impacting or parrying it or like neutral jumping it on reaction, it's no longer punishable if they block it. It also makes it a good buffer behind crouch medium punch after a spacing trap for guaranteed conversion on hit without spending on drive rush cancel if you don't have a lot of meter. So maybe if I'm doing like this on Ryu and I'm looking for him to maybe whiff a button after the spacing trap and I'm buffering this before, options are kind of limited. Sometimes depending on the spacing, the Gladius after would whiff unless you did medium Gladius, and it can lead to some kind of weird situations. See the Gladius there whiffed? So that was always frustrating to get punished on hit. So often that would result in me just always buffering drive rush behind it. But then you spent 3 bars, and if you didn't have 3 bars to spend, that could be really bad. Now, if you just throw this into medium quad, then you get a guaranteed conversion on hit. You can also convert that into level 3. Safe on block, so not as risky to just throw out. It's not a real frame trap. It can get interrupted if you do crouch medium punch on block into medium quad, so buffer responsibly. I think it's probably best after a spacing trap. The funniest thing I have found is that if you manage to hit them with a random medium quad in neutral, it is exactly the frame data necessary for one of Fidel's Dominican mind game setups, where you whiff your own DI and leave yourself super negative, but if they try to react, then you can DI them back. I'm not like endorsing that you do this, but like, it is really funny. And also, if you want to be slimy with it, since it is -3 on block, that is the same as this on block or this on block. All situations where you could maybe do OD Scutum to steal your turn back if they are trying to press a button when you are -3. You do put yourself at risk of just getting thrown and then having lost 3 drive bars and taken a huge chunk of damage and now be left at close range after the punish counter throw, which is not where you want to be. But if you do want to try to steal your turn in a silly way, and they are pressing when you're -3, it is an option. That is all I have to say about medium quad, besides the fact that for some reason the timing is a little bit finicky when you do medium quad instead of light quad after OD Dima. So if for consistency's sake you prefer to just do light all the time, I think that's what I'm gonna do. Like, that still works. It hits them high where you could see you could have done the medium, but like sometimes if I delay the medium just a little too much, like especially in the corner, it like randomly whiffs, or like that keeps happening to me. So it's okay if you want to just stick to light quad and not have to remember light versus medium when you're doing OD versus heavy juggles off Dima. And that's all for medium quad. Moving on to heavy. Heavy quad is down forward special. For starters, we're going to be talking about combos that include heavy quad. Your first combo is going to be OD Dima into drive rush forward heavy kick into heavy quad. The corner carry on this is massive. Like, more than half screen corner carry. 3/4 screen corner carry if they back roll. And it does almost a third of the health of your average character in this game. Also combo that into level 3. And then you're doing even more damage and getting back almost all of the meter that you spent on doing the combo itself. Off Heavy Dima, if you manually delay a drive rush back heavy punch into heavy quad, it gives enormous corner carry. Personally, I don't like manual delays in combos if I can avoid them, but it does work. Not quite as much corner carry as the OD Dima version, but works off Heavy Dima and only costs 1 drive bar, so worth keeping in mind. Either one of those knockdowns gives you the same forward dash Oki into potential forward heavy kick. After any heavy or OD Dima, where you would normally end with light quad, you can just do heavy quad instead to whiff and then potentially jump scare them if they reflexively tried to parry. This is again a funny setup, so not something I would recommend all the time, but if they're gonna wake up with parry, for example, that is all for combos, including Heavy Quadriga. And now this is kind of a longer section about the fact that it is now plus on block. So I'm actually going to treat this as its own section. Moving on to the next thing, Heavy Quad Part 2. Heavy Quad on block is +1 on block now. You are potentially in throw range, depending on how far away you threw it, but not always. If you threw it from close, you might be able to get away with the fake throw, but you'd have to throw from pretty close, and you're really not going to be doing that. So most of the time you're going to assume you're +1 and out of throw range. So your only real pressure there, it's just going to look like this. Either confirm your drab string into quarter circle back, buffer into Gladius, which won't get you a knockdown, buffer into Phalanx to kind of reset your pressure if they don't jab, DP, or power you out of it. Those are your raw heavy quad, loses hard to DI, but it can win anyway if you just cancel it into level 3. Kind of like if you try to DI Luke's charged heavy knuckle when he has level 3 and he beats the DI with the cancel. Most of the time though, DI does really blow this up if you are abusing it. However, I did find a setup where it is safe to DI, and also instead of +1, it is actually +4 on block. And that is specifically after the light quarter circle back knockdown. If you do it immediately, there you go. You are +4. There are a lot of different pressure options after that. I'm just going to insert a little montage that I already made and posted as a separate video preview before this of all the different things you can get off of that +4 situation. Although I am going to add one before I do that because I found this one after I posted that video, and that is that you can always do the light auto combo to frame trap them trying to mash there or catch them walking back. And that auto hit confirms for you, so that's pretty nice. I am now gonna roll that reel and we'll be right back. We are back, and I wanted to mention one other situation where you can set up this +4 on block, and that is after an OD Dima. If you do a forward heavy kick, it will reset them at the +4 situation if you did an immediate heavy quad. As you can see, +4. However, it leaves you too far away to do all of the same follow-ups as when you do it after the light demon knockdown, unless they are in the corner, in which case it leaves you quite a bit closer. Better follow-up options. The advantage of the Risa is specifically against characters that don't have good reversal options. Obviously Ryu can DP here, or he has good invincible supers to get out of the situation, but if you're fighting against a character whose main way of escaping a situation is wake up drive reversal, since it's a Risa, they can't drive reversal because it's not wake up, and that makes the pressure a lot scarier. You can also get a really silly wombo combo here if you pressed back heavy punch to trade with them and you are at the corner because of OD Quad. Absolutely nasty. If you want to go for a real frame trap there instead of a trade, you can also always go for the medium punches and then just confirm that into a similar combo that just does a tiny bit less damage. And that is all I have to say about heavy quad. We are moving on to a general quad section that I am just going to title Burnout Pressure. So, Marisa's new Burnout Pressure. For starters, if you want to end up +5 on block at close range and be able to kind of start a looping sequence, good way to do that is forward heavy kick into heavy quad. If he tries to mash in there, he's going to get hit. And you can then drive rush after him to stay on him and not really give him an option to get away from you. But if he blocks it, you're +5 at close range, and you can then begin the main loop. Main loop is light punch target combo, medium quad, crouch light punch, crouch medium punch, drive rush cancel, back heavy punch, heavy quad. And then you are again +5 in their face, and it just loops until you take them all the way to the corner, so it looks like this. Worth noting, you will always get more damage after you have them stunned at the wall if you spend on an OD quad than if you just do the starters with charged back heavy punch, but it's very meter inefficient. So if a combo with OD quad when they are dizzy will not kill, I would not spend OD quad there. Now, I did want to see what would happen if they mashed at any point in the loop, and basically at any point in the loop, if they mash, you can drive rush on Oki to checkmate, or just dash forward into hitting them with forward heavy kick, heavy quad on their wake up to restart the sequence. I'm not going to demonstrate mashing at every point in the sequence because it would take too long, but I can tell you that I did lab it, and this is pretty much checkmate if they don't have any super, and you have 6 bars to be able to push them all the way to the corner. We only have 2 more buffs to cover. The first one is pretty short, and that is that they added 1 more frame of leniency to confirm the first hit of the overhead target combo into the second hit, which is very unsafe on block. Personally, I see no difference in my ability to hit confirm it. Maybe your mileage will vary. I think this is a nothing burger buff. Feel free to prove me wrong. Moving on to the last buff, and that is crouch heavy punch. Finally got a hitbox that extends further forward as an anti-air. So it is functioning better as an anti-air as intended, but also seems to be functioning really well as an anti-air if you're good at reacting with the charged version, because it is much more reliably beating out jump-in attempts. So if I set Ryu here to do a jump-in, I'm just going to demonstrate a couple of different options. I still need to experiment with this because I have a bad habit of primarily using Gladius as my anti-air, which was reinforced by the fact that this button really didn't work as intended until now, but I think it is going to significantly help Marisa's anti-air game and somewhat make up for the fact that we lost access to instant one-button OD Dima as an answer to dive kicks. In general, against dive kick characters now on Modern Marisa, I would make a lot more use of one-button Scudum, since we no longer have one-button OD, and you have to be really on it to get that. It's still a good call-out, but this is a good way to deal with jump in or dive kick without having to necessarily guess which one it is. And that is everything. Thank you for sticking around to the end of this video. It is a real honor and privilege to me, as cheesy as that sounds, to be somebody that is seen as a leader in the Modern Marisa community when I didn't think there was going to be a place for me in this community at all, when I didn't think I was ever going to be good at the game. And now here we are. I'm the top ranked Modern Marisa in NA, unless you count a Chinese exchange student whose tag is Hung, who immediately went up to 2K MR. I get 1900 last phase. I am really proud of how far I've come on this character, but I'm even more proud of how I've been able to help other people learn and improve at the game. Thank you for trusting me as a resource. Thank you for including me in the community. I normally end with when in doubt Gladius. When in doubt Quadriga, motherfuckers. They gave me motherfucking Quadriga! I have Spartan Kick, bitches! I have Spartan Kick!
Where are you going? Before hitting like and subscribe,